film production. And in Indiana, which is where I live, there isn't a ton of call for that, or at least there wasn't when I graduated. And so I needed to find a job in the interim. That brought me to a nonprofit agency working with adults with developmental disabilities. And anyone that's worked at a nonprofit knows that you kind of take on all kinds of roles outside of what your title may be. I gravitated towards the marketing there and really just helped create things in Photoshop. I did all the videos. I helped do event planning and fundraising and things like that. And that was from about 2009 to 2014. I then worked for an actual marketing agency here in Indianapolis. And then I came to Essex. For me, so when I came over to Essex, it was kind of, it was Chris, our CEO's son, and then myself. And it has since sort of moved away from Chris. And at one point was just me. I recently just brought on 2 or 3 new part-time people to help me burden all the weight that comes with it. But in my mind, the marketing department, regardless of where you are, is really to help the, not voiceless, but maybe the more quiet person, or the person who isn't the best at technology, get out there and find different avenues for their voices to be heard. Obviously in the mortgage world, you are constantly trying to sell and get those relationships built. So I view that, from at least from my standpoint, is how can the marketing department at Essex Mortgage help bring in new avenues and new direction for our loan officers who may not be as well equipped in technology or marketing as the rest of the marketing department is, and how can we build those new relationships for them when they're out working and providing sales the way that they know how. That's a great question too. That was actually something that when I came on board, I was very excited about. I was very adamant about, and I have really, one of the things that I've really enjoyed about working at Essex Mortgage is the fact that they have provided me the freedom to do the research or take what I already know and say, hey, I think we should implement this. So with that said, I lean very, very hard on automations. I use Zapier constantly. Zapier really kind of automates our entire marketing platform and how we onboard new people, how we offboard people who are moving on to other opportunities, and just in general, the day-to-day marketing requests. Those are all automated through Zapier. So through that, and then open APIs with Top of Mind, with our 1003 platform, Simple Nexus, with our online listings app, Mobility RE, and just all of those coupled together has really, really made my life, and I think our lives at Essex Mortgage, that much easier. So I lean very, very hard on the technology that we've adapted and adopted to enhance how everyone is interacting, especially during this pandemic that we've all had to really start working smarter and also from different locations. I think that the technology that we've begun using has really enhanced our capabilities and allowed us to continue working as if we were still in an office. That's actually one of the big things that I'm looking to tackle as we move into 2021. I just recently brought in a new graphic designer who works she works for IndyCar, which is obviously huge in Indianapolis. But one of the big things that I noticed was we don't necessarily have brand standards. We don't have a set rule, and it is pretty challenging to make sure that everyone is up to date with that. So that's actually one of the big things that I'm looking to tackle next year. I guess from a standpoint of keeping it all universal, We do work out of the Google Drive. That was a big push of mine shortly after I came on, was moving to Google, just to make sure that everybody was utilizing these tools that I think personally Google offers. And the Google Drive is a huge factor for us and for me personally, because I will post a lot of things to the Google Drive, share those links. It also allows us to, adjust permissions and things like that. But as far as keeping everyone on brand, that's sort of my hope. My goal is that we will go through a pretty sizable rebrand in 2021, and then we will use the Google Drive and other forms of communication to make sure that people have the brand standards and the updated logos, all of the things that they need, so that they can take those to their respective printers, so that they can update everything that they need to keep updated. Okay, so we just recently launched a new website. I think our old website was it was probably at least 5 years old, and it really had, I guess, outstayed its welcome. And so we about April, we started tackling the complete redesign and overhaul of the website. Because of that, and because of some things that I noticed, our SEO is relatively non-existent. So currently, one of the big things that I've been tracking and keeping in my news feed are SEO articles, SEO platforms. What are some things that we can do to really start enhancing that now that we've got a website that we are excited about, and as we move into this next era with a new website, how do we keep up with that? So that's one. The other thing that I try to keep track of as much as possible are social media trends, ad spends, things like that. And then really any kind, again, automations, integrations, things that we can, because as far as loan officers go, they are salespeople. They are not necessarily tech people. They are not necessarily marketing people. So in my mind, how do I take all of these key components and make them talk to one another to make the loan officers' lives much, much easier? So I would say those are the three components: SEO, social media marketing, and automations and integrations. With COVID just changing the entire landscape of how everyone is doing things, we've really had to tailor our messaging to be more sensitive, I think. And I say that in the sense that the mortgage industry has been booming, which for us is a great thing, but we can't overlook what's happening everywhere else. I think it would be a really, really big mistake on our part, and I guess any mortgage company's part, to discount or dismiss what's happening to millions and millions of other people around the country and around the world, by saying, oh yeah, we've got these great rates, and continuing to push things and continuing to push mortgage rates as if nothing else was going on. So I would say our messaging has really had to be we've had to be a little bit more careful about what we say, and we've really had to focus on the aspect of, we do care about our folks that are getting loans and getting mortgages, and we do want to set people up for success. So if it's not the right time, then it's not the right time. But we just want to make sure that we are being as cognizant of what's happening around the country as we possibly can be, knowing that our industry is thriving, pardon me, but also understanding that the housing market also goes through ups and downs, and we could be down at any moment. So we do want to make sure that we're being aware of that. I will say that I've seen some pretty big successes since I came on board, and they're certainly not something that I would ever give a metric to or a measurable goal, but you can see it, I think, in just the way that we've done things. One of the things that I noticed when I came on was there really wasn't a system for how people came on board and got their marketing materials. There wasn't a system for how people got requested their marketing materials. It was a phone call here or an email there. And as we all get extremely busy, those things tend to get lost. So one of the first big pushes that I had was to create systems and processes for how those things work. To me, that's been a big success, is seeing our new folks come on board and getting their materials, getting informed and up and running as soon as they possibly can, rather than it being a significant lag time. Additionally, making sure that our loan officers know where to go and know that we do have systems in place so that they can get what they need, and make sure that they have this open set of communication between them and us. To me, that is how I've measured success, and I've seen it happen over the last 3.5 years, which to me has been maybe not measurable, but something that I've been able to see. One of the key features that I've been preaching since we switched from our old CRM over to Surefire was the tags that Surefire allows you to add to a customer or a client. That to me is a game changer if it's used, and if it's used properly, because it allows you to go in and add tags to a client. And I don't care what you're selling. It doesn't matter to me if you're selling loans, if you are selling clothes. To me, it doesn't matter. If you are building relationships, then you need to make it seem as personable as possible. And one of the things I've noticed is that those originators that are using those tags, one, keeping track of their clients' likes, dislikes, etc., and then putting those into action by utilizing those tags, it just totally changes how people look at sales. I think we've all been hit with sales that just felt impersonal and you weren't really interested. I think the tagging and the ability to keep track of your clients' likes and dislikes, and then mentioning them, is it's the way that you have to, if you're going to stand out and if you are going to be successful in any kind of sales, you have to be able to keep track of the personal things about your clients. And I think the tag feature in Surefire allows loan officers to do that on a very personal level. So as far as 5 things that I have to have to get through my day, coffee is absolutely one. To the point that I recently had a power outage and I wasn't able to make coffee. This is so embarrassing. I actually found a manual coffee press and went out and totally changed the way that I make my morning coffee now, because I can still make it even if my power is out. That's kind of how dependent on coffee I am. The second thing that I would have to get through my day is a whiteboard. I have a lot of rapid fire thoughts that happen, and as I guess, even as being a millennial, I don't want to type it all out. Sometimes I want to just get a dry erase marker, get on my whiteboard and just jot some things down, and then at least they're there so I didn't lose them, and then I can come back to them later. I'm also going to add in a software component to the things that I would have to have. I recently switched our project management platform to a software called Airtable, and I don't know that I'll ever go back. It is, the way that I describe it is, it's kind of spreadsheets or Excel on crack. I think it's a wonderful tool. If anybody out there utilizes spreadsheets, definitely check out Airtable. It is a game changer as far as I'm concerned. Coupling with that, Zapier is something that I will probably use for the rest of my life. It is a phenomenal automation tool, and one of the big reasons that Airtable is so powerful for us is because of Zapier. And then I think the last, number 5 of the things that I would have to have would just be Google. I have an Android. I am, much to the chagrin of my friends and family. I have those green text messages, but I love Google. I love the way that they've got open source. I love using Google Drive. I love the conversion of of Excel to Google Sheets, and of Microsoft Word documents to Google Docs. To me, the Google Suite is just such a powerful tool for productivity, and I don't think I could make it through my day without it. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of an old school person in the sense that I would much rather thank somebody in person. I know that that's a big thing when you get to the Oscars, that you try to thank as many people as you possibly can. I'm much more of a private person, and I would much rather have those conversations one-on-one. So I guess if I had to, I would thank my family. I'm pretty close with my family, and I think I owe most of what I have to them. I would thank, wow, that's such a tough question. I think I would just stick with my family. I would thank my family, and then anyone else that I think was relevant, I would probably thank in person, just because to me, it means a lot more.
Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe for more updates from Top of Mind.